Yo, what is good, world? It's your boy, Captain Leroy King, the third. And as always, I have my lovely co-hosts with the mostest by my side, Miss Reese PC, the one and only.
Hey, y'all.
And we thank y'all for tuning in and turning up for another dope episode of This, That, and the Third, the lifestyle show that gives you life. Literally. Now, we're going to begin the show in the best fashion we know how, man. And that's by shouting out our sponsors, Twin Media Group and Freelance Academy. What up, us?
Hey.
And it's the end of the month, man, and we're going to kick the show off with new news for all you new news. So, Reese, what's headlining our news segment this week?
So the layers of policing.
What does that even mean?
Okay, so remember I told you guys about the show Wyatt's Scenic Problem Areas on HBO?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been tuning in, and this particular episode was about student loans. It was about sidewalks. Which is really interesting.
What
I'm not
about
gonna go
sidewalks?
in too deep about that, but just how they're trying to come up with laws for the sidewalk.
Like no bikes on the sidewalk?
No
which is
bikes
the goofiest thing
or
I've ever
like
heard.
congregating. You know how big groups can congregate on the sidewalk. Therefore, you have to walk around.
Right.
Or
that's illegal?
well, no, it's not that it's illegal now, but they're just trying
pushing for
to.
it.
Yeah, and then having like, you know, when you're on Michigan Avenue, it's almost like a known thing that if you're going in one direction, you're on one side. If you're going in the other direction,
you're right.
Right. So he was saying to have like the lines.
Let's guide these motherfuckers.
Yeah, so that was interesting. But he started talking about layer of policing, and this particular policing segment was about like sexual harassment.
What about it? There's layers to sexual harassment within police departments?
Yeah, so we all know that it's a predominantly all-white male occupation, right?
Boys Club.
Yep.
Boys Club.
I had that down, boys club mentality.
When the women first came on the police force and were hired as police officers to get out on the street, do the same thing I'm doing as a young cop, it wasn't too well received.
It is still, in 2018, a predominantly male-dominated profession. I think nationwide, the numbers of women police officers hovers in the teen percentages, 15, 17%.
Law enforcement remains all too white and all too male. I cannot tell you the number of times that I would go into police conferences and I would be the only woman in a room of 200 chiefs.
I look at it like, when I go outside of my community, I usually see, yes, males, but males that look like people from that community. In my community, I only see people that are white males as police, especially the detectives, the jump out boys, the dicks, as they like to call. Unfortunate.
So they talked about how sexual harassment and sexual misconduct is the second most complaint that the police receive outside of excessive force.
According to a report from the Cato Institute, behind excessive force, sexual misconduct is the second highest reported civilian complaint against police officers. And police reportedly commit sexual assault at a significantly higher rate than the general public. Yet stories of police sexual violence are rarely talked about.
Wait. So this is from actual citizens complaining on police.
Yes.
So it's not these 82% of males disproportionately trying to fondle their coworker, the female coworkers.
Not just trying
Not just,
to fondle
but
their female.
primarily we're talking about citizens with complaints of sexual harassment against police.
Yes.
The fuck?
Okay, it gets deeper, y'all. Wait.
Come on, man.
I was so like, when I was watching this. Okay.
Aha moments galore.
So according to Cato, which is the institution that does different reports on policies and procedures for different institutions, right?
I thought that was the nigga that lived in OJ's beach house.
No. I don't even know who that is.
Cato? You don't remember Cato from the OJ trial?
No.
Stay asleep.
Right.
Sorry.
So they report that it's a 9.3% of misconduct. They also say that the police have a higher sexual assault rate than civilians. So the sexual assault is coming at a higher rate from police officers than.
So there's more sexual
civilian.
assault claims against police than there are citizen against citizen.
Yeah.
Now that's odd. That's not odd, and here's why. In my opinion, this is my thing. Police feel like they're above the fucking law, man.
The limitlessness of power that they have really allows them to feel that way.
Yeah, and I think it's because when it comes to certain issues, they have such a fraternal bond that they like, even if my man's is wrong, I'm not diming him out.
And that's what a lot of former police chief of, like, from the one from Seattle, San Diego, New York. And they all said that even though it's frowned upon,
Right.
they're not telling on their
Oh.
coworker.
Stitches get snitches.
Okay, so
I
police.
mean, snitches get stitches.
Now, did you know this? That in 35 states, it is not illegal for a police to have sex with the people that they have in their custody.
What do you mean it's not illegal?
In February, BuzzFeed reported that in 35 states, it was not illegal for police to have sex with someone in their custody. In 35 states. Now, since that report was published, 4 states, including New York, have changed or are in the process of changing that law, which just goes to show how important it is to shine a light on these things. But that's still only a handful of states. And that does not seem like the list you want to be the last on. There's no way in hell Illinois ever wants to hear the phrase, wow, I wish Illinois was as progressive as Arkansas.
So I can handcuff you and fondle you and rape you.
I can get arrested today, right?
Right.
In their custody. Yeah, I could be harassed, raped, anything you can think of.
Now let me just play devil's
it's
advocate. Is it because there's a thin line between fondling and frisking? Like, is that the spirit behind this law? Where it's like, man, because anybody that I, frisk could try to pursue sexual assault charges if that protection wasn't in there. Is that the why behind it, or is it just like these are freaks?
No, because I guess apparently women, and you know how that law was stop and frisk? For women, it's grope and frisk.
Frisk while walking? Like, you don't have to stop?
Like, that's what police officers have been doing. And that was like a known terminology for women.
Grope and frisk.
Didn't know that. But Illinois is one of those 35 states where it's not illegal.
What? And that's not surprising either, man. I think Illinois is very different from Chicago, first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's illegal in Chicago. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of things that people think Chicago is more of Illinois than it actually is.
Okay.
So when you hear things about the state of Illinois, but you live in Chicago, you're like, how? And it's like, how not? There's more farms than there are freeways.
Totally get that. Now, when we talk about Illinois, so in this episode, they showed at least 3 different cases, 3 different woman cases, that 3 different things happened. One was a teacher, and she was raped on her way to work, going to school by a cop.
If he had not been arrested on scene, I really don't know what I would have done. I want to think I would have still come out and still gone to the police and said, I got raped this morning on my way to work. I don't know. I think there's a big part of me that thinks if police had not come right there, I probably would have gone back to my apartment and quit my job and stayed in bed and called my mom and been like, I'm moving. As my case was, we were going through the trial, I felt like I have the easiest case in the world. Like, I've got 2 witnesses, I have police who came, I have DNA, like, I have my principal saying she was meeting here. Like, this is so easy. And it wasn't. I had everything in place, and I still had to fight really hard to get a conviction. So I think if you don't have those things, it's really not surprising so many women don't.
That's the one case. The second case, Hispanic lady, right? Was driving home. I think she said it was like 2 a.m, driving home at night. She was in her aunt's car. The police pulled her over.
It was like 2 a.m. I was at the light when I realized it was a police car next to me, and he told me to lower down the window. He said, boy, you had to stop. When I stopped, they told me, give me your license, your registration. And I didn't have the registration of the car because it was my aunt, but he didn't ask me. So then he told me, okay, so we're gonna follow you home so you get home safe. So when I park, I see them make a U-turn, and I say, thank you. But then when I was opening the door, I hear step. When I look back, I see them, and they told me, who's home? And I say, my children and my brother. And they went inside. When I look, the other one come behind me, and I have a tattoo on my back. And he put his hand, he said, nice tattoo. And I get scared. The other one come in front of me, and he started touching me, grabbing my shirt, taking it out, and he grabbed my hair. He was pulling me my head down. He opened his zipper. After he finished, the bathroom was like next to him. He went grab paper and he left.
Stars.
That particular situation, the officer did go to jail.
The or both?
Just the one.
The one from the back or the front?
The front. Yeah.
How? Wait, how can the one in the back not be culpable or complicit?
I don't know, but like this is a thing, and so we have an incident here in Illinois where.
What was that one? Do you know?
She went to the police station on 35th. The particular incident that happened here, a young lady went to the police station, Internal Affairs, to say, hey, this officer, sexually harassing me, this is what's going on. And she didn't like the vibes of the questioning that they were asking her, making it seem like she was the one that maybe.
What were you wearing exactly? And why were your boobs exposed?
In Chicago, a young woman went to complain to the Internal Affairs Department. They were discouraging her from filing her complaint, referred to the fact that they thought that she had been a dancer in a club at some point. And she was so taken aback by this behavior, she started recording them on her phone. They saw that that was happening and charged her with wiretapping.
It's so stupid the way that our system is set up to be like, yo, we can do all of these things and get away with it, and you can't do these things to prove that we're doing all of these things and getting away with them, and you will be held to the full extent of the law. Persecuted to the full extent of the law. Like, what fucking judge? You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, let's just say cops are rotten. And not all cops are rotten, but let's just say there's a whole bunch of bad cops. And then it gets to the point where these things make it in front of the judge.
Okay.
What is going on behind closed chambers that these judges are standing on this bullshit?
Well, in all the cases that they talked about, I mean, they brought up a case in Oklahoma where the man was going around to he was particularly targeting women in low-income areas, the poor. And if they were on the street, maybe drug addicts, he would make them lift up their shirts, frisk them.
Was this a dude that
them.
he was kind of either Asian or Hawaiian looking?
Yeah,
he wasn't all the way white.
Yeah.
And got caught and was crying like a little bitch.
Yeah.
During his sentencing.
Yeah, and he got sentenced.
That's in my opinion, justice being served, dog. You raped all these women, and he's probably right now getting raped. And I'm not a proponent of rape. I don't agree with that shit.
But
I know it's a power trip. But my thing is this: I do come from an old enough school that it's kind of like, man, an eye for an eye, man. If somebody is going to if you're going to hit somebody, expect to get hit back. If you're going to take somebody's cookies, expect to get your cookies taken. Shit. Taken for. Starring that nigga, man.
Yeah, so this is just something I thought was interesting, especially being a female. When you get pulled over, a lot of the retired chiefs were like, it's almost like their MO is, well, if you want to get from under this citation, if you want to get out of this ticket, if you want to, no, give me that ticket. Run that every time.
Ticket, man.
Every time. So if you haven't been watching or seen Wyatt Senek's problem areas, check it out. He has some pretty interesting topics.
Seems very informative, man. So moving off of abuses of power, man, and fuck any police that abuse their power. Fuck any person out there that abuses your power, whether you're a politician, whether you're a principal or a teacher, whether you're a parent. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of fucked up people out there, and fuck y'all. But we going over to Starbucks with sensitivity training. What's going on there? I thought the 4 hours had been given. I thought they were cured of racism.
No, it was Tuesday.
Oh, it just happened.
Yeah.
So it was scheduled, and now it's occurred, and now everybody's saved, and their stock prices go up. Like, what the fuck happens next?
I know the lines in Starbucks are ridiculous. People were
motherfuckers feel better buying now. Motherfuckers feel better. That's a PR move, though. What's the backstory? Like, what?
So originally, when they said closing, I thought they were closing for the day. And they were working through a day-long training.
We're going to get through this.
No, they were open, or they only had 4 hours of training. So I'm not.
Bring y'all in shifts. before you clock in, come in 4 hours early for this training. So we're going to keep business rolling, though.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So Vice News, Starbucks allowed Vice to come behind the scenes. I think they were the only media outlet there. And so they talked about 3 or 4 managers, district managers, and they asked, can you train racism out of people? They asked a black guy, a Hispanic guy, I think they asked a white guy, and then it was a white lady. why did the black and the Mexican guy seem so confused by the question?
What do you mean? They didn't understand it? English wasn't their first language?
It was like, oh, I don't know. I don't.
Perplexed.
They were like pondering the question, like,
Right.
fool, no, you can't. And the black one actually tried to say, well, I guess if you're trained to be racist, then maybe you can be untrained. I just couldn't take it.
Now, you know why he would say that is because by definition, black people can't be racist, right? So it's easier for him to say, yes, you can untrain some shit that he's not trained in versus somebody that might benefit from a system of, disproportionate racism. And that's just how they were raised and shit. So they've been trained, like not on some, man, this is on the job training, but this is my parents trained me, my teachers, my school, my social interactions, all these things trained me how to be this way. So I kind of got to say that I agree with him. Not in a 4-hour setting, you ain't finna untrain shit. Right. But eventually you can unteach any of that shit.
The white lady said, no, you cannot. So it's interesting coming from her, her perspective, her, I don't know who she is, but privileged, entitled world, right?
So it is what it is around here.
It's like, oh no. It's just exactly.
The way it
but
is.
How the ones who are discriminated against can think so positively. Oh, yes, it can happen. Oh, no. No, so they didn't let them into any training.
Right.
They showed them like a piece of a video, and it was just a black guy talking about race. It was so, a lot of people say they just missed so many things because are we just talking about black and white, or are we talking about the LGBT? Are we talking about Jews? Are we talking about the other things? Yeah.
Not racism, but genderism or whatever it's called. My thing is this. If people, Starbucks, for example, really wants to move the needle on this, they should probably, instead of trying to, like one of my favorite quotes is, it's better to build strong children than to repair broken men, right? So like grown-ups that work at Starbucks either are or aren't racist. They've already made a decision. Not to say you can't change and be better tomorrow, but I just say more or less you are who you are
at that point
when you're here. If you really want to be a proponent of equality, why not start educating kids while in school? Why not start having apprentice and internships in that junior high school level? Why not start partnering with the junior colleges and major universities to have these programs that allow you to bring in new management that has been in this pathway that you created to be the most equitable Starbucks employees ever? Or is that not what you really want? You just want to get this motherfucking coffee bag sold.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. So don't sit here and piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Right.
I know what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to get them lines back busting. And I'm not mad at you because if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. This move makes sense to me, man, from a PR perspective.
Yeah, I'm like, they don't want all that. They don't want to
Nobody
train
wants all that.
kids.
Nobody wants equality. I do.
They don't want to fix the problem.
I mean, at the end of the day, man, like we see what it is. And I just say to the Starbucks consumers that were goofy enough to wait until this 4-hour training happened to jump back in line, you the real goofy. You should have continued going there the whole time, or you shouldn't go there at all ever again. If that situation that happened with them two brothers made you stop going there in the first place, because this didn't solve that.
Yeah, I haven't been back.
Fuck you, consumer.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on with a good deed with your president, not mine? 4-5.
So Trump is considering.
What's he plotting on now?
Commuting or pardoning Governor Blagojevich.
Rod Blagojevich?
Yep.
The nigga that got caught on tape, like incriminating himself?
Yep. He's thinking about it.
On what grounds?
Well, basically, he said, according to the Associated Press, Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One that Blagojevich said something dumb, but that's lots of politicians.
Including him.
Lots of politicians do and think his sentence was excessive.
And so are weed sentences. So are, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, totally agree.
Child support sentences. So unless we're going to commute all of these sentences, why him? Why now? What the fuck?
I don't know. I like Blagojevich, so.
Personally, she likes the goon.
I feel like let him out, but.
Let him on now, man. He been gone for what, 8, 9?
Yes,
he been gone for a cool minute.
You know, considering Daley made it through this mug with no jail time.
Squeaky clean.
But
nigga sold the city.
That's his
got up out this jam. Well, Congratulations in advance, because I think that anything that Trump puts his mind to, he does.
He does.
And it's kind of one of those things, like, if he's considering it, is if he wants to do it, it's
He'll
getting
do it.
done. So, but this is my question. Where was Barack when, like, all these executive orders, like you spoke to a couple episodes ago, where was he when all these disproportionate, like, did Trump free Meek Mills? Who got Meek out? Was that Trump as well? Oh, okay, I was about to say, Trump is about to be MVP.
No, but can we, so I did have this at the later segment, but let's touch on this. Since Meek did not go meet with Trump to talk about prison reform, right? Because he got the call from Jay-Z and said, don't do it.
Please don't do it.
I think that was a stupid move. Because now they call Kim K.
Who
Trump.
She's the ambassador of hip hop?
How is she going to talk about prison reform when she's never been, or anybody in her family? You know what I mean? Like, have you been affected? Do you even know?
Shit. See, I just want your opinion on this, G.
For what?
Oh, wow, I didn't hear about that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's left field, G. But to the point about Meek, I feel like I can see it from both ways. How he wouldn't go because of OG, like Jay-Z is telling him not to go. You just look at Jay-Z as a different type of entity, and you like, man, I'm gonna do what Hov says, right? I mean, no, I'm talking about from Meek's perspective, not Laricia's.
Oh.
All right, right. And then it's one of them things on the flip side. It's like, what's a meeting? You know, you're gonna get information. You're going to get some conversation, and then you're going to make a decision based on the information you receive. But now you don't even have the information.
Or you providing information so that they can understand what really is going on, possibly, right?
But I don't think that Meek has a real jail experience. As much as he goes to jail and stuff like that, these rapping ass niggas are not having a jail experience, because niggas that go to jail for wrong reasons never come out. His popularity was able to get him out. T.I., Wayne, Martha Stewart, everybody
did their time.
Everybody that did time probably did less time than a non-celebrity would have done, is what I'm saying.
Well, okay.
Even Wesley.
Let's say, I believe Pac, they were not easy on Pac. They gave that man. Now, fast forward to now, I think they're a little more lenient and easy on them. But I feel like some of them Suge served some time. He was in jail.
Suge's a good example. He's under the jail.
Right.
Yeah, but he ran over a nigga. See, like that's not popping.
I wouldn't even say Gucci Man. I think he did some time. He did some.
Gucci sat down. He sat down. But again, I just believe that these celebrities get a for real authentic jail experience.
Okay.
I think that a common man gets a totally different experience when he goes to jail for whatever the crime is.
Well, and I do believe, I would say more protection probably if they're in jail. Yeah, but my thing is Kim K knows nothing about it.
Exactly.
Absolutely nothing.
She knows nothing about
much
at all. No disrespect, dumb bitch. But you really don't know much about life, I would say.
I mean, her life has been very sheltered.
She was like an amateur porn star in her teens and blew up off that shit.
And
never
thanks to her mom.
Thanks Shout out, Chris.
Yeah. Okay.
Last but not least, man, we just want to give our sincerest condolences and just rest in peace, rest in heaven to Zach Stoner, better known as ZACKTV, here in the city and nationally, man. This dude was putting on for the city in a very positive way. He was actually shot and killed a couple days ago. Memorial Day?
No, it was maybe like Tuesday or Wednesday morning. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning
on
Clark and Polk. They say he was leaving Refuge, the club.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. You never know who is watching.
You never know.
Because all them high rises, somebody caught video on their cell phone of like he crashed into a pole, and then you see like 2 or 3 people running from the car into another car and leaving the scene.
The people in the car with him shot him.
I don't remember seeing them get out of the car. You see his car crashed into a pole. There's another car sitting.
Oh, okay.
And you see.
So they dumped on him while he was passing by.
And then you see them running back into a car, getting in.
Wow. And that's like, I mean, and I don't know the brother like that. I had the pleasure of working with him when we shot for the Ha Davis at the Harold Watson Cultural Center. But it's just one of those things where, you know, his reputation preceded him, and it seems like his character was very closely aligned with his reputation. So I'm just trying to understand, like, a bullet to the head, that's personal as fuck. Like, who wanted this man dead so bad?
Somebody said to me, because I mentioned it, somebody said it could have been gang initiation to the head when it's like that.
Initiation, but like killed this positive pillar of the community, or just killed somebody and he actually ended up getting it? That sounds
and that's a
random,
question.
yet
We
questionable.
don't know if they knew
Right.
or if it was just random.
Right.
Because stuff like that can't happen just random.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace. Condolences to the family. Condolences to the city, man, because we lost a real one this Memorial Day week. And, man, just moment of silence wherever y'all at. And that about wraps us up for news on this week's episode of This, That, and the Third.